Hi, how are ya?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good, good.
I do think we're already recording, so that's good.
Okay, we'll watch what we say.
So we'll have that ready for anyone who misses the meeting. But okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I think we've got about 15 minutes for people to come in. So
Okay, great. We're gonna get started at 12:05.
yeah, about that. Hey, Dale. I like your chamber background. I wore chamber colors.
Here we go.
Got a new uniform.
All right, nice.
Hi, we're just waiting to get started, so it'll just be a couple minutes yet before before everyone's on. Still waiting for a couple people to hop in, so um, but until then, I'm Chelsea, the Member Services Coordinator, and I'm happy to answer any questions that happen in the chat or direct them to the person that can answer them. And hopefully we can get started around 12:05, so about 10 minutes from now. So for those who are just joining us, we'll get started in about a little less than 10 minutes now. Hi to everyone who's joining us. I'm Chelsea, your Member Services Coordinator. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes here, but I'm just waiting for a couple more people to join us. We have about at least half of the people who said they were going to come, so we'll have a couple more minutes for the rest of them to get on.
Hi, Chelsea. Can you hear me? It's Teresa.
Hi, Teresa. Yes, I can.
Okay, just testing.
Yeah, perfect. For those of you who are just joining, we're just going to get started in a couple minutes here, waiting for a couple last minute people to join. Welcome everyone. We're gonna get started in just 2 minutes, waiting for a couple more people to hop in. But we should be ready to start around 12:05, so it'll just be a couple more minutes there.
We just got to make sure Dan joins us.
Yeah, I think Justine will message him if he's not on in the next couple minutes. So, because his part's kind of important. Dan's our treasurer. And just so everyone knows, we are going to record this meeting for people who maybe can't make it. So just so you're aware, it is being recorded for that purpose. And I think we're at 12:05. So I'd like to introduce our chamber president, Allan Simm, to start the meeting.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm really happy that everyone could join us today. Welcome. to the 88th Annual General Meeting of the Ingersoll District Chamber of Commerce, March 29th, 2021, held virtually, probably for the first time, I'm going to assume. I guess 87 other meetings, you were able to gather in person. So thank you for joining us today. And I will call the meeting to order at 12:05. So good afternoon, everyone. I would just like to say that if you are making a motion, please state your name and just be aware of any background noise that you can control if possible. Today, Chelsea Stevens will be taking the minutes of our AGM. So before I get started, I just wanted to recognize our counselors and I think we have on our Zoom call today, we have Deputy Mayor Freeman. He is with us today. Thank you for joining us. I think we have, I can't see all the screens, but Councillor Van Kooten Bossens is on. We also have Councillor Bowman.
I'm here.
And also Councillor Hughes. So thank you. And thank you, Deputy Mayor, for joining us today. I'll give you a chance to say good afternoon.
Yes, yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm not sure where our Mayor Ted is. He's a busy guy and like all of us, and can't just always join any and all meetings whenever we so choose. But it really is great to be here, to be part of this meeting. Exciting to hear our guest speaker today, and wish you all well. Thank you so much for. You're all great business people. Thank you so very much for enduring throughout our hard times, and looking forward to 2021 being a great year for all of us. Thank you, Allan.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor, for that. I just kind of threw that on you. So, so before we get going, are there any declarations of conflict of interest to declare at our meeting today? So hearing none, if everyone could take a look at the agenda. And I hope everyone has the package. If we could get an approval of the agenda, then we can start there. So I'll take a motion.
Rachel?
Rachel first.
Mike Bowman.
Seconded by Mike Bowman. Any opposed? I guess we'll say. So none, so then that's approved. Thank you very much. We also have the minutes of the 2020 Annual General Meeting. If we could get an adoption of the minutes of the Annual General Meeting 2020.
Mike Bowman will move.
Mike Bowman first.
Allison Bigger.
Allison Bigger is seconded. Are there any opposed to the adoption of the minutes? Okay, hearing none, so that's carried. All right, now we have reached the point where we can hear from our treasurer. I know Dan has worked very hard, and I want to say thank you to Dan for being the treasurer and also for your work. I know it's a busy time right now. It's tax season. So I'd like to call upon Dan Nairn for the treasurer's report.
Thanks, Alan. All the financial statement was part of the package that was emailed out to you this morning. So hopefully everybody's got a copy of that. So I'll just kind of briefly go through what the numbers are all about that are in the statement. Certainly 2020 was a challenging year for all of us as business people, and no different for the chamber. So I'll start on the balance sheet. We're fortunate that the chamber's done pretty well and saved lots of money over the years, and we build up a little bit of a war chest so that unforeseen things happen, that we'd be okay, which is what's happened, and how we were able to get through 2020. It's pretty much unscathed to a certain degree. So at the end of December, we had funds on hand 63,856, which is only down from 68,841 the year before, the end of December 2019. Accounts receivable 22,686, which again, that's normally runs along because we have a lot of the dues get invoiced in December. However, there are some dues that are outstanding for prior dues and stuff like that we need to try and get collected up whenever we can. HST recoverable, $823. Prepaid expenses, $960, which consists of some prepaid insurance as well as 1 month's rent paid in advance. So total assets, $88,325. Accounts payable and there's some accrued charges in there. So basically those are December expenses that haven't been paid until January or after. It's up quite a bit this year because the bill for doing the video that we did is in there as well. So there's a bit higher than the normal, because normally there's just a couple of small expenses, but we have a few extra items in at the end of December this year that don't get paid until 2021, but pertain to 2020. The deferred revenue, 6360, is basically the prorated membership dues that are invoiced in 2020 that really pertain to 2021, because the policy we adopted a number of years ago, we invoice some of the members through the year. That everybody doesn't have a January 1st renewal date. So therefore, if you're a June renewal date, then half of your dues that you pay in June of one year pertains to the following calendar year. So we do a calculation and carry over the amount of dues that pertain to the following year at December 31st each year. So on the equity side, so total liability is 11,297. On the equity side, we had an opening balance of 86,400. We have a deficiency or shortfall in expenses exceeding revenue by $9,372. So at the end of the year, we've got $77,028 in member surplus. So we're still, fairly healthy that way, as you can see from the bank account as well. So over to the next page, the statement of revenue and expenditures. Membership dues were down a little bit. We lost a few members, but not too bad. And then we actually put on some new members as well too. So it's just, and again, some of the new ones we put on, of course, again, with the way the deferred revenue works, is that they might have paid a full year's worth of fees, but they go on to most of their fees might have went on to the 2021 year, because if they say join in October, then they'd only have 3 months in the 2020, and then the rest of their dues will just carry forward in that deferral. Sponsorship packages was something we knew that we'd started in 2020, where members can pay a fee that sponsors everything that goes on during the year, and there's a few different levels. So that's been pretty successful and pretty handy as well too. So that again helped us get through, because we didn't have much in the fundraising side. So we appreciate all those members that did do the sponsorship packages, and those are out again this year. I know Chelsea's making a rounds with the members as far as seeing who wants to renew and who might like to join that as well. There's an advantage to that. You only pay once and you're on at all the events and stuff. So it's kind of a handy thing. It'll be better in the future when we can turn around and do all our events too as well. Chamber events, that's where we're really down this year, because as everybody knows, that's mainly where we make the revenue, is on the different events like the Blue Jay game and the annual awards banquet and the golf tournament, et cetera. And really the only event that we had that was really profitable was the golf tournament. It was kind of put together at the last minute in the fall, and still turned out to be pretty good. And we did make $5,300 on that one. The rest of the events, we basically broke even or had a small loss. However, we looked at doing, like when we did the food and wine and the Christmas baskets, the whole idea there was to turn around and, not for the chamber to make money, but to turn around and support our retailers and businesses as much as possible, to try and put together something that at least got them some sales and some exposure, and without worrying about the chamber making a bunch of money. So the girls did a lot of work, and the people that were on those committees had to do those things, and really the chamber didn't really make any money on that, but it was all about trying to support our members. The group insurance fund still pretty well runs along like it normally does, because again, it's some members join just so they can get access to the insurance plan. So we get a commission from that. Something that was new this year because of COVID, Community Futures Oxford made a grant available to us that we applied for, that we received $2,500 for. And then we use those funds, you'll see when we get down to the expenditures, to produce that video for the frontline workers that we released in December, considering them to be the citizens of the year. So we appreciate Community Futures Oxford for that access to that grant that allowed us to do that very worthwhile project. Chamber trips, of course, there were no chamber trips, so there's no revenue there this year. A little bit of website and e-blast income, not very much, and then interest income 128. So total revenue 51,083, down about 5,000 from the year before, and it's mainly because of the events. And then the increase, we picked up some of the increase on the sponsorship packages. Management fees, that's the expenditures to Chelsea and Justine for running the office, and they still worked hard all through COVID and kept everything going for us, and we really appreciate that. Rent, $8,075, office expenses $2,877, computer and internet $1,400. You can see the other items there. There weren't much change from the prior years. The frontline workers video I alluded to earlier. So that was a cost of $2,800 to do that video, and we've got two of them. We've got a longer version and a shorter version, which got finished in 2021. So that's not in there yet. The cost of doing that, as well as we did some members videos as well. There's nothing into the chamber expenses category as well, because that's usually for a couple of the events that we do, and like education and training, there wasn't anything there. The other items were pretty well as normal. We had a bit of bad debts. We kind of cleaned up some bad debts that were sitting on the books from the last year or so. So those are in there as well. So we end up with a expenditures exceed revenue by $9,372 for this year. However, again, under the circumstances, we really didn't think that was too bad of a situation, because again, all of our main revenue every year is from events, and so hopefully that's going to pick back up. And again, by having funds on hand, we were able to weather through that storm. But it was all about trying to support our members this year rather than worrying about as long as we could kind of keep the chamber sustainable. The notes are on the next page, which are pretty straightforward. Then the last page in the financial report is the budget for the year ending December 31st, 2021. Now, what I did there was I tried to be as conservative as possible, looking at what might happen this year. So we've just put chamber events in at $10,000, which is basically, we're hoping that the golf tournament at this point is planned. We're going to have to see later in the year whether we're able to do an awards night like we usually do. And any other events that we may come up with, if COVID kind of passes us by and everything gets safer, to turn around and have some public gatherings or whatever. We'll just have to play it by ear. So we're kind of conservative in what we put in there for revenue from chamber events. The other stuff is pretty well static as what it normally is. The expenses, again, pretty well what the norm would be, is what comparable to last year. The only additional one, we got some extra costs in advertising, promotion, community projects, because again, we finished the other videos in 2021 for the shorter version of the shorter version of the frontline workers video, as well as we did some members videos that are part of the sponsorship package that was part of that. So those are in there as well too. So we're budgeting right now for a shortfall of $5,140. If we are able to do more event stuff later in the year, then we can maybe get that down to nothing as well too. So I say financially we're in good shape, so therefore it isn't going to hurt us to have, if we do have a shortfall that way, and it's all about just trying to support the members that way. So that's the long and short of it, trying to have an abbreviated Cole's Notes version of the financials. So I'd like to ask for someone to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report, including the budget for 2021, and then we'll open up after we get a mover and a seconder, then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone's got.
Fred Freeman, so moved.
Rachel, second.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, hearing none, then we'll just ask for a vote. Generally on Zoom meetings, it's just basically if there's anyone opposed, basically hold up their hand or speak up, basically, but kind of any of the Zoom meetings that I've been at where you got to pass any motions. So hearing none, I guess then that's passed, and I'll move it back to you, Al.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Dan, for that report, and thank you for your work on being our treasurer. We really appreciate it. Now we're moving on to the presentation of reports. So the highlights from 2020, 2021. It's been a challenging year for many businesses and entrepreneurs. No one could have predicted what we had to live through 2020 and even at the beginning of this year, 21. Many businesses and families have been negatively impacted by COVID-19. We had to dig in and weather this storm. We continue to do our part and keep our families and friends safe. We here at the Ingersoll District Chamber of Commerce want you to know that we are here for you and that we are looking out for local businesses. We want you to know that we are working for you and your business and for all members in Ingersoll and the surrounding area. We want to continue to work with local government and associations to help forge a strong and vibrant business economy here in Ingersoll. Even though we have faced some hardship and that many of our businesses are still facing challenges, we want you to know that we have your back. We are working hard to deliver value to our members, whether through our online networking meetings or through our exclusive benefits for our members or through our sponsorship packages. We are taking your feedback and making changes. And we are adapting to this current business environment. COVID-19 was an interruption, but it did not stop us from having a successful golf tournament. Thank you to Dale, a shout out to him and his group and committee, and Gift Basket Drive, Andrea and Allison and of course our team that supported local businesses. Supporting local businesses is something that we firmly believe in and continue to promote because we know how important it is to support local. We know how important it is to promote a positive message and vibe in the community and build up our businesses. I would like to ask Chelsea if she could maybe just give us some highlights of 2020 and some of the events.
Absolutely, I'd love to. So we had a couple of really interesting events this year. Certainly a bit of a curveball in terms of events. And some of them Dan mentioned earlier, which included the basket events that supported our downtown businesses, particularly our retail businesses. We were able to support 13 businesses with our Christmas basket program, which saw us put together baskets that held different local goodies that were purchased by people from all over, including as far as Dorchester, Woodstock, Tillsonburg. So those were quite successful. The food and wine event was the same way. We were able to support a number of local businesses and really get people involved and get the community involved in supporting local, which I thought was really great. Our golf tournament was a big success this year. We did change the format slightly to be more appropriate for public health concerns, but we were able to have a successful tournament even through this rather challenging year. And we had our AGM, of course, our 87th AGM back last February, which was kind of our last normal event for 2020. So the last time I shook everyone's hand and really got to know everyone there. Another event that wasn't as big of an event, but I started one-on-one sessions last year, which I'm doing again this year. So if you haven't had a chance to speak with me, please email me and I will set something up with you. But I've had the opportunity to speak with a number of our members one-on-one to learn more about their businesses, more about how the chamber can help their businesses, and more about what we can be doing going forward to make sure that we're a business network and make sure that all parts of the network are working together, which I think is a really fantastic thing. I've learned so much about what we offer locally and how we can improve on our offerings to the people in our business community. And I think that's it in terms of the events that we had this year. If you are interested, I'm just going to take a second to do a quick plug, Alan. If you are interested in maybe looking at a sponsorship package this year, please email me. I'll make sure that my email is in the chat. But there are lots of opportunities this year, and we're finding ways to make sure that we can do virtual friendly sponsorship packages this year to make sure that people are getting their money's worth. So with all that said, Alan, I think I'll turn it back to you.
Great, thank you, Chelsea. And so we're at the point where I would like a motion to accept all the reports as outlined in the 2020 year in review.
Mike Bowman will move.
Mike first
Dan Nairn second.
and Dan second. Any opposed? And I guess I should ask, are there any questions, I guess, at this point on our reports? Okay, hearing none. So any opposed to that? Hearing none, then that is carried. Thank you very much. I'm just at the point where I'd also like to ratify all the actions of the Board of Directors from the year 2020. And all the approvals and ratifications. I'd like to do that at this point, all the motions. And if I can get a motion then to ratify all the actions of the Board of Directors from our previous fiscal year, I'll take that right now, please.
I'll make a motion. Adam Funnel.
Adam first,
Rachel second.
Rachel second. Any other discussion? Are there any opposed? Okay, great. That's carried. Thank you very much. We're at the point now where we can come to the election and the nominations. So on page 4, you'll see we have a slate of those that are to be re-elected for another 2-year term. So the directors are Allan Simm, Mike Bowman, Rachel Van Slyke, and Dale Flynn. And then we also have those that will continue in their 2nd year. And then we have directors nominated for their first 2-year term. So these are new directors that will be appointed this year: Curtis Ty, Marcel Rosehart, and Kathy Cripps. So we have the slate then for those two directors to be re-elected for another 2-year term, and then those that will continue their term, and then those that will be appointed for their first 2-year term. If I could get a motion then to approve that slate of directors. So a motion for the slate of directors and the renewals, please.
Rick Hughes.
Rick first,
Adam Funnel.
Adam second. Any other discussion? All those opposed? Hearing none, then that is carried. Thank you very much. And we welcome our new directors to the board. And then I'd like to now ask Chelsea Stevens to introduce the 2021 Board of Directors.
Absolutely. Okay. So our 2021 Board of Directors include our president, Allan Simm, Rachel Van Slyke, who's our first vice president, Adam Funnel, who's our second vice president, Tammy Jeffrey Larder, our past president, Dan Nairn, our treasurer, Allison Bigger, Rick Hughes, Paul Tyndall, Rob Tremblay, Andrea Segui, Orleen Newman, Quinn Powell, James Langford, Mike Bowman, Dale Flynn, and then Marcel Rosehart, Kathy Cripps, and Curtis Ty as our new Board of Directors for the 2021 year.
Great. Thank you very much. And I look forward to working with with our new directors and our existing directors and our committees. So I think we're doing really well for time. I think I even just heard the town as well go off. So I heard that bell. So we're right on schedule. Now I'd like to hand it over to Rachel Van Slyke to introduce our guest speaker today.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce David Paterson, the Vice President of Corporate and Environmental Affairs at General Motors Canada. David leads communications, government, and environmental relations for GM Canada and is a member of GM's global public policy and communications teams. His area of expertise and responsibility include international trade agreements, climate and carbon policy, electricity costs, vehicle GHG and electric vehicle regulations, safety regulation, cybersecurity, privacy, taxation, investment incentives, pensions, worker compensation, real estate, labor law, and red tape reduction. David is a past chair of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce and currently serves on the board of directors of the Canadian Journalism Foundation, the Canadian Motor Vehicle Association, and the executive of the Canadian Automotive Partnership Council. Before joining GM in 2014, David was the Senior Vice President of Government Relations and Public Policy at BlackBerry. And prior to joining BlackBerry, David was the Senior Vice President of Public Affairs at Manulife Financial. So David, on behalf of the Ingersoll Chamber and CAMI Assembly, thank you so much for joining us today. And I know we're all looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Rachel. And congratulations to all the directors. And congratulations, Allan, for all the good work that you have been doing in a really tough year going back. And it's really wonderful and familiar for me to be here as a member of the Ingersoll Chamber and as a former chair of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. I love being at chamber meetings, and what you do is really important. Throughout my entire career, I've always felt that time spent in the chamber is time very, very well spent. And so I'm very thankful that you've asked for a quick update on some of the things that we're doing in Ingersoll. And as you've probably heard, there's some really good things that are happening. And so happy to share that. So I thought what I would do today, just for 15 minutes, and I'll try and share my screen here so that you can look at something much more interesting than me. We will, I'll give you a quick sort of update of what is happening in the auto sector right now. We're not just a great area that has the CAMI plant. We're surrounded by all kinds of auto suppliers, great companies, and we are all going through a massive transformation in technology in the auto sector right now. So I'll talk a little bit about that, but then of course give you a bit of an update on the good things that are happening at the CAMI plant with our BrightDrop investment of $1 billion, which is pouring in dump trucks into Ingersoll right now. And it's a really great time and really looks very positive for the future in that regard. So I'm going to try here to share my screen. We'll see if this works. And you may need to tell me if it is, but hopefully it will. Just we'll give it a second here.
David, this is Chelsea. I can see your screen.
Okay, that's good. That's a good start. Let's see if I can get this thing to come up and work fully though. There we go. All righty. So I said a little bit of the mass transformation that's taking place in technology in our industry. You know, we at General Motors, we get up every day, and as a big global corporation, we really think of our mission on the planet as being these three things, and that is to achieve a world with zero emissions, and we'll do that through electric vehicles, zero crashes, and you know, we lose 40,000 people on the roads of North America every year through driver error. So if we can get cars to stop bumping into each other, that's going to be an enormous technological feat. And we are really making some impressive technological changes in that regard. And then something that you probably feel a little bit more in some of the big cities like Toronto, but we are losing so much time in our economies because of congestion and so much of our own time and quality of life. So those are our three missions: zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion. And our CEO, Mary Barra, who I could not be more proud to work in a company led by Mary, really I think crystallized a lot of the focus in North America on our industry when earlier this year she really stated that we at General Motors feel that we're at a very significant inflection point. And you may see some of our advertising popping up more frequently talking about that. And what she means by that is now is the time that with technology and a variety of other things, we can really see this move to electric vehicles really taking hold and taking place. This will be the time when we look back, when we said, yeah, that's when it took place. And this is a tipping point. It's not by accident that our North American advertising campaign for General Motors now is called EV for Everybody, Everybody In, and the lead person in it is our own Canadian Malcolm Gladwell, the author of The Tipping Point. And we really feel that we're at that point now. We've made some big bets and we've made some big promises, and really two main things. One is that we want all our operations, our plants and our operations to be carbon neutral by 2040. But the thing that I think really caught the imagination of many people is a undertaking to eliminate tailpipe emissions. In other words, to move to purely electric vehicles for our light duty fleet of some 50 odd different vehicles that we sell, all being fully electric by 2035. So we're on a 14-year mission here to make an enormous change that doesn't only involve us, it's going to involve all our customers, it's going to involve governments. And in fact, funny enough, as an industry that is extremely regulated, we are now turning that discussion around and really saying to government, you now really need to do your bit if we're going to make this transition in terms of helping consumers to learn about electric vehicles, to see the economics of that. And we're going to need some real investments in our charging infrastructure to make sure that this all works. We're going to have some 30 new electric vehicles by 2025. And so right now we have a couple of interesting ones in the market. We've just announced this vehicle, which is the Bolt EUV. We have the Chevrolet Bolt EV, which has been in the market for 5 years, and it's about to get a refresh. This is about 6 inches longer. It's more of a small SUV, and it's coming into market priced even less than the Bolt EV. And with government incentives, it's a really affordable vehicle for someone or a family that needs a hatchback and a small vehicle. In the luxury vehicle frame, more of a full-size SUV, the Cadillac Lyriq will be on sale later this year, again, fully electric. And this one really excites us because General Motors is really a ruling leader in the truck business. And so what better vehicle to turn our environmentalist friends on their ear than the Hummer to lead the assault of fully electric trucks coming forward. This will be on sale later this year. It's a pickup truck. It has 1,000 horsepower, and this truck will be able to accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3 seconds. That's just a little bit slower than our Corvette. So what we can really demonstrate now is that we can give amazing utility in all sizes of our vehicles, but there's some real challenges that we have to be able to deliver that as well. And the biggest challenge in the auto sector is batteries. It's really all about batteries in this transformation. And that's a transformation that will have some big economic implications for Canada as well, as the country that is very rich in minerals, has all of the main mineral types that go into batteries, but batteries are changing really quickly. This is a picture of our Ultium battery system, which is the system General Motors is investing in. It's sort of like a skateboard that we can put under any size of vehicle. And under that sort of copper colored container is what we would describe as almost an ice cube tray. And we can put any number of battery cells, either sideways or on top of each other, into that base to be able to deliver the kind of size of battery that we need for either a small vehicle or right up to the full-size pickup truck. The whole focus here really is to be able to take our battery technology and be able to improve the energy density, or in other words, how far you can go on a fully charged battery, but at the same time reduce the cost. And that's the classic engineering balance between those two major challenges. And what that comes down to is which types of minerals you pick, and a very intellectual property focused chemistry challenge to be able to do that. And so what we really are setting out to do is to be able to take the price of our batteries and be able to cut them in half in the next 3 or 5 years. And at the same time, to be able to squeeze more range out of those. So we would like our full size trucks to not just have a range of 400 kilometers like the Chevrolet Bolt, but wouldn't it be nice if it could get twice that? Then you would be up at the range of all the types of vehicles that we have on the road today, and we would have no excuses not to be looking at an electric vehicle. And if you could bring the cost of the batteries down by 50%, you're getting to the point where it's going to actually be more affordable to sell somebody an electric vehicle than an internal combustion engine vehicle. And then you're really talking, because the performance, the experience, the driving experience of electric vehicles is really far superior to internal combustion engine vehicles. And the performance on that Hummer is just an example of that. So they're really wonderful to drive, fantastic, but we need to get through that technology challenge. We're all in to do it. We've given ourselves 14 years to make this challenge as we go forward. The other big technological change that is happening right now is, again, to stop vehicles bumping into each other. And this is the Cruise Origin, which is a people mover in San Francisco. We also have fully autonomous General Motors Cruise vehicles, which are the size of the Chevrolet Bolt, about 200 of them on the roads of San Francisco, able to fully navigate that incredibly complex city without a driver. And so this technology is here, and it's on the road, and we're just waiting to have a regulatory okay to go ahead and really deploy this. And so we see this as a new kind of business of robo-taxis, effectively, that will help to complement urban transportation systems and public transportation systems. It'll also be an incredibly positive thing for disabled groups and provide mobility to people that just don't have it right now. But most important, I've heard firsthand the accounting from our president, who was at our proving grounds down in Michigan. They gave him and one other person 2 of our autonomous vehicles, and they basically said, now go out, drive them around and see if you can crash into each other. And they couldn't do it. The technology prevents that from happening. And so we can do that for the vehicles on our road. Think of the lives that we can save. It's exciting. And we have some steps on the way in terms of adopting that technology. One of them you see portrayed here. It's our Cadillac system that is being deployed across Chevrolet and all our vehicles as well. And it is, we call it Super Cruise. And what it allows you to do is take your hands off the wheel, your feet off the pedals when you're on the 400 series highways. And I've used it. You can drive this from Toronto to Detroit without touching the steering wheel. That little green light tells you it's engaged. And in the middle, you may see that there's a little iris reader, or a little camera. And as long as you're paying attention and not reading a book or something like that, the car will drive itself, keep itself in the lane, and get you safely from A to B. So that's a sort of on the road to autonomous system that's there. And I tell you all that because we really have a role in Canada in adopting this technology and bringing it forward. You know, we've been in Canada as General Motors for over 100 years, but our roots go right back to Colonel Sam McLaughlin, who was the largest seller of horse-driven carriages in the British Empire around the time of the turn of the century. But Colonel Sam decided that as things were starting to change, that he'd partnered together with Willie Durant at General Motors Corporation, put a Buick engine in the front of one of those carriages, and history was made in Oshawa. Started to build the McLaughlin carriage vintage, and then eventually became General Motors. And then come around 1989, other factories followed, like the CAMI partnership we had with Suzuki, and now is one of the modest members of the Ingersoll Chamber of Commerce. But General Motors is now well positioned right all across Canada, and especially in Ontario. We have our Woodstock Parts Distribution Center. We've got CAMI Assembly. We also have an engine plant in St. Catharines. It will have to transition over time with electric vehicles. We have our Oshawa plant, and we've recently just run a whole number of media up by Zoom to visit with our Kapuskasing cold weather testing facility and some other really amazing technological facilities that we have. And I really wanted to start there because the industry is all about technology and change right now. And General Motors has really focused on this in Canada to the point where now we are the largest engineering center for General Motors outside of the United States. By far and away, the biggest engineering and software OEM in Canada. We have this very large campus in Markham where we do software development. We have close to 700 people that are developing the software for our systems for our cars. We have another similar center in Oshawa. We do the cold weather testing of every General Motors vehicle up in Kapuskasing. And we have just built in Oshawa, at the south end of the Oshawa plant, this new test track. It's on 55 acres, and it allows our engineers to put their code on the road. So as they are developing systems for lane keeping and automatic stopping, et cetera, they need to test that in real life in a vehicle, be it an electric vehicle or an autonomous vehicle. We're doing that right here in Canada now on a test track as well. We have deep partnerships with universities. We do that in a number of different ways. One is our Auto Drive Challenge, where effectively we give students at the University of Toronto or Queen's or Waterloo a Chevrolet Bolt EV, and we say, you turn it into a self-driving car. And they compete in that competition with the best universities in the United States. And in the last 3 years of this competition, the University of Toronto was one in North America each year for the last 3 years. So we have great talent, incredible talent here in Ontario, and that is the feedstock for small Canadian domestic companies to grow up, develop their intellectual property, hold on to it, and become the new Magnas of the future as we go forward. That is critical for the success of the Canadian auto sector. Now, we've always done manufacturing for 100 years, but really this is an industry driven by technology. And when you do really good things in technology, good things happen in your manufacturing side. We sometimes forget that you've got to invent the vehicles, test them, and get them approved before you can actually put the parts together. We've put the parts together extremely well at CAMI. We were General Motors North America's most valuable plant in 2019 at the CAMI facility, where of course we built the Chevrolet Equinox. And through COVID, it's been challenging. Right now, that plant is suspended because of a COVID-related challenge on semiconductor chips. But through this last year, we were resilient. And this is a picture of a change that we made. We have a area of the Oshawa plant. And when things were really tough at the beginning, I sort of said, well, why don't we set up a mask making operation? And I'm proud to say that with partnership with Navdeep Bains and Minister Anand that you see there, we've now made 10 million masks. These are surgical level approved masks. We have a full medical manufacturing license in the Oshawa plant. And that shows you the kind of adaptation and resilience that we've had. It's good to be able to manufacture things in this world. It's good to be able to move quickly when you needed to, and we needed to for healthcare purposes with the pandemic. So the Chevrolet Equinox has been the pride of the CAMI operation, but and it's been really important, our links to the community, but we have something new that is coming to the CAMI facility. And we announced this earlier this year, and it's a new brand for General Motors called BrightDrop. So what we are going to do is invest $1 billion into the CAMI plant. We've started doing that. We'll partner with the governments of Ontario and the federal government to be able to really optimize this investment. What BrightDrop is a all-electric delivery van for cargo. And so how did we ever come around to deciding that we would do a very significant, this is a 20-foot van that is going to be made in the factory. That's a very different animal than the Chevrolet Equinox. And over the next 2 years, we'll transition to making these vans. They're basically delivery vans, all electric for companies like FedEx. But the backstory on that you might find interesting. And I said it's important that you have innovation in your mind when you're trying to be successful in the auto industry. So in our engineering centers, we're not in this business, frankly. We got out of it a number of years ago, said we really should be in this business of delivery vans, but they're going to need to be electric, and we can do that. But we're also needing to really innovate and improve for our customers. And so through COVID, all of us saw how much parcel delivery accelerated, and companies like FedEx and the post office and others were all delivering to our doors. We also know that across Europe and North America, we expect that it will be a requirement for these companies to electrify their fleets of delivery. So we in the engineering center here came up with an idea, and that was to have a locker that you could load the packages into in a very conscious way. It's a e-pallet, as we call it. It drives at about 2 or 3 kilometers an hour and would follow this fellow along the floor. Might even have a little train of these things following them. And then that locker will be able to be automatically side loaded onto that BrightDrop delivery van, and drop the e-lockers down into the lobby of First Canadian Place and deliver on floors 3, 6, and 45. And drive itself out again. So we tested this idea in Toronto, and we with FedEx, FedEx was able to conclude that they could deliver 25% more packages using this system than they currently did. Now think of that in terms of the global industry for delivery. If you could improve your efficiency by using this system 25%, would you be interested in that? Well, believe me, they are. And the orders for this coming from around the world are really, really encouraging. So CAMI will be over this next year getting ready. We will start to run some of these full-size vans off the end of the line at the end of this year, which is a lot faster than the other electric vehicle investments you've heard about in Ontario. We will probably be in 3 years of production of this before you see any of the electric vehicles that our competitors roll off the line. So we're moving fast, and the transformation will sort of see us shift downward in the Equinox production, upward in this production. But as I said, we are really enthused about the market for this. It's a different way of working. There'll be a lot of retraining, but we'll have the same number of workers roughly at the end of the day as we make that transformation as we do now. And there'll be opportunities in our supply chain as we adopt this new type of technology going forward. So that's it. That's what we're doing at the CAMI plant. That's what we're doing in a nutshell in the auto industry. It's a big gamble. It's a big change. We think that it's time for everybody to make this move for a couple of good reasons. We think they're going to love the product, but at the end of the day, going electric, it's just the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do for our planet. And we can be proud that the first major auto plant in Canada that's going to be making electric vehicles is in Ingersoll. So with that, be happy, Rachel, or anybody to take on any questions or whatever you direct.
Does anybody have any questions for David at the moment? No. Okay, well, thank you so much, David, for sharing that presentation. I know I learn something every time. I see different pieces, and it's great to see all of the investment that's going into Ingersoll, and I know that that's what gets this team very excited as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the great work you guys are doing. We really appreciate it.
Great, thank you. All right. I'm gonna turn things back to Allan for a moment here.
Yes. I just want to echo, thank you, Mr. Paterson, for joining us today and for filling us in and giving us that update. On behalf of the Ingersoll District Chamber of Commerce, we'd like to thank you for your presentation today. And also, we'd like to thank GM for your continued investment in Ingersoll. We know how important it is to have GM in our community and also the surrounding region. It is a very important economically for jobs and the future jobs in this region. So we want to say thank you for that $1 billion investment. And we look forward to seeing those vehicles delivering our packages in the future. And we will be sending a little gift bag along for your talk today. So thank you, and we'll make sure we get some goodies from the from our community here and from our businesses. All right, so we are getting close to the end here of our time together. Our chamber team of Justine Vise and Chelsea Stevens continues to work hard for you and our board. We are thankful for their efforts during this challenging year. We want to deliver events and programming that deliver value to all of our members. They will continue to reach out and get your feedback as they strive for continuous improvement of the chamber. We want to say thank you to all our chamber members for your support during the last year. Thank you for your membership and your sponsorship. We have over 100, well, we have 177 members and growing, because every week or so we get a few more. So thank you for your membership and also your sponsorship. We are honored that you still put your trust in us to be the voice of business in Ingersoll. And we look forward to listening to your ideas and developing new programs and then putting them into action. Thank you to our board, our executive and committees for all the work that you have done throughout the year. You have volunteered your time and energy, and you have made a difference in the business community. And as we wind up now, right on time, we're going to end with a video. We are so grateful for our frontline workers. They are an amazing group of people and our 2020 Citizens of the Year. Every day they protect us, they look out for us, they serve us. We say thank you to all of our essential workers in the community, including our paramedics, EMS, the OPP, our firefighters, our farmers, our truckers, our teachers, our grocery workers. The list goes on. And also thank you to our town of Ingersoll that keeps everything rolling for us. I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us today and for being part of our AGM. We hope you enjoy the rest of the day. And now we'd like to end with a 1-minute tribute to our 2020 Citizens of the Year. Thank you. Just make sure we got some volume.
To make a successful community. Our essential workers have shown what a big role they play in our day-to-day lives. From retail employees to firefighters, police officers, your pharmacist, the hospital workers, our truck drivers, and more. They're our neighbors, our friends, our family. The Ingersoll District Chamber of Commerce would like to recognize our essential workers, the true hometown heroes. As our 2020 Citizens of the Year, we appreciate them and the way they put themselves at risk every day to make our community function. Thank you to the Ingersoll community, and thank you, frontline workers, our 2020 Citizens of the Year.
Thanks, everyone. It's 1 o'clock and maybe we'll just get a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, Dale, thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. And thank you to Chelsea and Justine for putting everything together today. I wish everyone a great day and we'll see you out there. Take care.
See everyone.
Thank you. Bye.